Back at Happy Valley after a week off, the feature race is the Manawatu Racing Club Challenge Trophy, one of 8 races on the C course at Happy Valley on Wednesday night. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Lejeune, joined here in the studio by our former analyst Paul Lally and race caller Brett Davis as well. Brett, and definitely on the countdown now, 6 to go, I think, till the end of the season.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. Yeah, it's not too many now, and obviously still the margin 5 between Zach and Joe. Zach's got 7. I think Joe's got 7 as well, so they'll go in on equal terms. There'll be some competitive racing. As you mentioned, we haven't been to the Valley now for a fortnight. Track looked magnificent at Sha Tin, I must say, on Sunday with a little bit of wet weather throughout the week, and I presume that the track will be doing the same at the Valley.
Interesting that Joe and Zach, I think they both missed the same race. It's race 7 they haven't got a ride in, which is quite strange. But triple trio, Paul, we got a little jackpot there.
Yeah, a little one there. Well, a little one in your mind there, Andrew. 1.5 million, in fact, so it's not bad. Good jackpot there. There's a couple of first starters. I don't think either one of them, they might be next season type horses. I haven't got them in the numbers anyway, but there's a few old favourites running around as well, a few trying to break their ducks at the Valley, so should be a good meeting.
Yeah, and this time of the season we see a few sort of horses on the fresher side of things bobbing up. There were a couple on the weekend that were able to get the cash that had sort of had a bit of a freshen up, or not a lot of racing throughout the season. But in saying that, there were a few that have had plenty of racing and fronted up again.
They certainly did. And speaking of the weekend, let's start there before we look ahead to Happy Valley with our racing review.
Season 2017-2018 has been full of highlights for Tony Cruz, and the trainer's success continued on Sunday as he landed the final 2 group races for the season. It's been a massive last few months for Cruz, who has won the last 7 group races in Hong Kong, a winning run which began with Pakistan Star's memorable QE2 Cup triumph. Cruz saddled up 2 of the main chances in the Group 3 Premier Cup, in Winner's Way and California Whip, and it was the latter who continued his excellent run of form to secure the biggest win of his career.
California Whip clear, Lucky Bubbles raising an effort, born in China, California Whip clinging on and takes the Premier Cup.
Jockey did a very good job. I mean, he had a pacemaker and, you know, come the straight, just accelerated and couldn't catch him, you know. He's a 1,400 metres specialist.
Earlier in the day, it was Exultant who led home a stable Quinella for Cruz in the Group 3 Premier Plate over 1,800 metres, beating his stable companion Gold Mount by over a length. It was Exultant's 3rd win for the season, and the son of Tiaferro will now be aimed at races like the Hong Kong Vase in December. Exultant's victory was also part of a double for Zach Purton, who was able to maintain his 5-win lead over Joe Moreira in the Jockeys Championship by the end of the day. Sunday's meeting also showcased the up-and-coming stars of Hong Kong racing, as 3-year-old Win Beauty Win defeated a strong field to land the Class 2 finale on the card.
Win Beauty Win bursting through, coming at 100 miles an hour. Win Beauty Win charged through, hit the lead from Solar Patch and Coddy, then Regency Bobo. Win Beauty Win tearing away with the final race of the day. Win Beauty Win from Solar Patch and Coddy.
Paul O'Sullivan's lightly raced son of McPhee will now head for a break before he returns next season with his eye on the 4-year-old series.
We don't want to be burdening him with sort of 12 or 14 runs in his first season, so we sort of raced him at the start of the season. We gave him the middle part off, and then he's just come back for the last bit. So that'll be it for him now. He's in a situation in the weights where if he was to be good enough, he'll be able to run in the 4-year-old series.
The Premier Plate and Premier Cup brought down the curtain on group racing for the season, but several of Hong Kong's higher-rated horses will line up next month in the Sha Tin Mile Trophy on the final day of the season.
Yeah, it was a big day at Sha Tin. Chad Schofield, of course, as well, bringing up his 100th and his 101st winner here in Hong Kong.
Yeah,
as well.
that's right. I heard, or I read on Twitter that his father, I think, rode 152 winners here. So he's got a little bit of a goal there to chase, but congratulations to him.
Yeah, very exciting, that horse in the last. You heard Paul O'Sullivan say that, you know, he's got enough points to get into the 4-year-old series. I think he is good enough. And you can see he went up 9 points on that, and he's now rating a 90.
When you go back and have a look at the horses that have won the Griffin Trophy and what they've gone on to do, he's in pretty good company.
Yeah, he was getting weight off Conti and Solar Patch, but still, it was a good performance all the same. Exultant's getting towards the top of the pile there as well at 125.
Yeah, look, he's a real durable horse, isn't he? I thought, as Paul pointed out on the day, I mean, he was ready for the Derby, wasn't he? And then he's still been able to keep going a couple of months and put in some very tough, strong performances. Come a long way, hasn't he?
He certainly has, yeah. Speaking of derbies, we had a former Derby winner going round on the weekend in Japan in the shape of Werther. This was a mighty performance as well. Hugh Bowman in the saddle. The eventual winners in front. Mickey Rocket was fourth in the Tenno show. Now, it was his first Grade 1 win, the winner, but they'd have to be happy with this with Werther, wouldn't they?
Enormous run, Andrew. I think if you give Werther the run that Mickey Rocket had, Werther probably wins the race by about 3. It was a huge run. There was a lot of tempo in the race. The horse that did win was, you know, like a caged lion here. He fought on strongly, and you can take nothing away from him. But from a Hong Kong perspective, they'd be thrilled with that performance from Werther. I think one of his best, and we know what he's capable at his best, Paul, on QE2 Cup Day a few years ago.
I wonder if they'd be tempted next year to have a go at the Japan Cup as a...
Because it's so close to the internationals.
That's the problem, isn't it? It's so close to internationals. But it's something that hasn't been done here because of the internationals. I mean, yeah, fair enough, he'll probably go to the internationals, but we'd love to see a Hong Kong horse in the Japan Cup.
I get the feeling they will venture there again because the owner spent, I think, 6 years of his life going to school in Japan, so he has a close association with the country, and I think he'd like to win a race there.
Well, there you go. And I know Dubai's been spoken about already for next season. Werther wasn't far from going this year if it wasn't for the injury problems he's had. All right, those are the big winners on the weekend as we try and find you some more with our horses to follow. Right, you found a lightly raced up-and-coming horse for us, Paul?
Exactly. There wasn't that many at the meeting because we're getting towards the end of the season here, but obviously Penang Hall, I think, will run again before the end of the season. He's just come down into Class 3. He had one run on the all-weather in Class 3, then he ran in this race, and I just really like the way he fought on. About here, I thought he was going to finish right in it and actually just about win the race. He just came to the end of it, but now he's in this grade. You see how he kept fighting and fighting? I think a win from him before the end of the season is quite probable.
Yep, I actually looked at Racing Luck in this race, who finished out wide, but because Paul had Penang Hall and we need to shop elsewhere, I've decided to double dip and bring up a horse that we've already had on the horse to follow list probably a month or so ago, Positively High. Last 2 efforts been ridden quiet, really hit the line nicely. I think he's a horse for next season, just really powered on here. You can see Victor Wong getting stuck into him and he's sort of shifting in all over the place. He struggled to keep him in a straight line, but it was a nice run again, and I just think next season he'll, you know, be benefit from the off-season, couple of months off, settle in, be more acclimatised and end up developing into a nice horse.
He certainly looks a nice horse as well. He's a nice type, got a bit of quality about him. Tianchi Monster for me, he's only had a couple of starts. He was a listed winner in New Zealand over 2,100 metres. His name was Formidable then, Sean Ritchie trained him. So this is over 1,200 metres. And again, there's a bit of size about this fella as well, just a 3-year-old. So I think with the summer under his belt, he'll probably be OK. That's Mighty Maverick winning. And Lean Perfection, he got 3 points for this, so he's now at the bottom of Class 2, which is interesting also.
It was a super run from him in defeat. And let's not forget that Mighty Maverick absolutely trotted up the start before in a lower class. Patch Baby ran an honest race. Master Albert, who finished 4th, was a last start winner. So very strong form line, I would have thought.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's really still well rated, Master Maverick. Mighty Maverick, I should say. You know, he got right down on the ratings.
All right, but Tianchi Monster, for the record, was the horse to follow. Now, a few weeks ago, we announced a new trainer joining the ranks at the start of next season. His name is Jimmy Ting.
I'm very surprised that suddenly I get that license, but I'm very happy and grateful, and thanks Hong Kong Jockey Club to give me the license, and thanks the trainer helped me that just like Brian Can, Danny Shum, and the other trainer that I worked before.
We've seen what Frankie Law has been able to do in his first season here in Hong Kong. Has that inspired you?
I think he's very successful, and make me pressure, But I always say that do my best. Then nobody can tell you that you are not success.
Well, the best of luck to Jimmy. Full stories on the website, hkjc.com. Or speak to John Blance, who was spotted at the back of that press conference.
I saw John in there. Yeah, he's off and down there in the mornings, taking it all in. Well done to Jimmy. He's had 30 years' experience within the racing industry here in Hong Kong. Experience with multiple trainers, you know, ridden horses as well. So hats off, well done.
Yeah, he's ready to step up, I think. If he's ready now, so way to go.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy will be a licensed trainer from the start of next year. We're going to concentrate from here on in, though, on Happy Valley's programme. One horse out, and that's Multifaceted. So it had a chance as well, but the horse that comes in certainly got a shout. Ha, ha, ha. Caris Teton will ride from barrier 2. So this is meeting number 83 of the season. We return on the C course to Happy Valley. We start off with a Class 5 over the 2,200 metres, headed by Bo Duke, who's back down into a Class 5 company. It was fourth behind Association Fans last time out over the 1650. Penzance, runner-up last start behind Aero Luminance, gets up to the 22 for the first time. Sweet Bean coming out of that same race. We've got Rock the Tree, who was third over the 2,000 metres behind Le Panache. The Joy of Giving and Wealthy Fortune also coming up in distance. Hall of Fame was behind Le Panache, as was Holy Unicorn. And Joy Plus Fun finished 6th in that Le Panache race as well.
Well, who will lead here? It's an interesting question. It is Class 5. It's a short run to the first bend, 2,200. If Holy Unicorn steps well, gets his running shoes on like he did last start, potentially he can find the front. If you go right back through the form of Bo Duke, he was a noted front runner, but he closed off strongly last start. Whatever happens, Penzance from gate 1 should be able to hold a nice spot.
He's going well too in the mornings. He's in really good form. He looks really tough to beat in this, I think. Joe Moreira might be able to get the meeting off to a good start for him, and the horse looks like he's ready to go the 2,200 metres. No issues there, and he's very fit. Rock the Tree, another one that does pop up in these longer races. He looks like he's a really sort of a small, solid type of horse.
Robust.
Robust. I'm trying to find a nice word to say it, but he runs pretty well. That's just him. He is fit. And Hall of Fame is another one that's showing that he does like this trip, 2,200 metres. His win was at Sha Tin, but he's another one that's going okay at the moment, and he's pretty fit and ready to go.
All right, one to consider also. Before we have a look at some of these key races, though, let's hear from one of the jockeys involved, Sam Clipperton. He'll be riding Bo Duke.
Sam Bo Duke's a horse you've won a couple of times on. He's down in Class 5, up in distance to 2,200 metres. Do you go in confident with him?
Oh, look, he's been a little bit out of form of late. As you say, he has won quite nicely at Happy Valley on a couple of occasions. And the class drop's definitely going to help him. He's over a good suitable distance in 2,200 and drawn a nice gate. So if he can bring a bit of his old form back, especially at Class 5, well, he's got to be competitive.
With that old form, would you like to see a bit of that old speed, or where do you see yourself in the run?
Oh, look, yeah, he used to show a good amount of speed. When I won on him, he was outside the leader, and then I think I won a 2,200 metre race on him also over Class 4, and sort of made a mid-race move. He doesn't have a good turn of foot, but he can sustain a gallop. So, yeah, look, just depends how much speed there is, but he can, as I said, he can sustain a nice gallop, and if we can make a bit of a test, well, that would be ideal.
All right, that's Sam with Bo Duke. We'll launch straight into the key races, though, see who his rivals are. Starting off with Penzance and Wealthy Fortune. Penzance just won too good for him last time. That was Aero Luminance. David
Hall's been very patient with Penzance. He's always looked a horse that's had ability, taken some time to sort of, you know, fill into his skin and grow in maturity from a physical aspect, but he's gone to the wire here with Aero Luminance, suggesting a win's close. Love the runner Wealthy Fortune here. He got a long way back. He's drawn well. If he steps and stays handy, he could give him a run for his money. I like them in the first three for sure, those two.
Yeah, I've got them both in the numbers. I think Penzance looks very tough to beat.
All right, OK. Sweet Bean's pretty consistent around these sort of trips, and very consistent as far as overall Class 5 record is concerned. A whole stack of them involved here, though.
The only one I've got in is Sweet Bean of these four. He's so consistent. He always runs on nicely. Zach Purton knows the horse very well, so I've got him. And Rock the Tree, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran OK. Holy Unicorn and Joy Plus Fun, I think, have had their chances.
A bit like you, Paul. I think from the gate, Zach on Sweet Bean, that's a reason enough to put him in. He can posse up. Holy Unicorn, if he steps and gets to the front with no pace, can run well. Rock the Tree's the other way. He wants lots of pace in the race to come into it late. So like Paul, I ended up putting Sweet Bean in.
All right, but Penzance favourite at this stage, Paul, and on top for you as well?
Yeah, looks tough to beat. Penzance to beat. Bo Duke, who's a 4-time winner in Class 4, comes down here to Class 5. I think he'll run a big race. Sweet Bean in for third and Wealthy Fortune for fourth. 3-1-4-9 with Exotics the way forward.
Yep, 3 on top as well. Penzance. I think Wealthy Fortune, if he goes around at $15, $16 like he is now, he's worth an each-way ticket for sure. Sweet Bean, and I agree with Bo Duke, but I'd be playing a Quinella bank of the 3 with 4 and 9. I think you can get a result in the first.
All right, clean sweep for Penzance. I got him on top as well in the opening contest. That's the Class 5 done with. Class 4 next for us. Race number 2 over the 1,200 metres.